Welcome to another edition of Hall of Fame Live, where we have another fantastic guest for you today. She is a four-time major champion, a two-time Fed Cup champion, and owns over 700 combined career wins. Mary Pierce, it's great to see you.
Hi Blair. Hi everybody. Thanks for having me. So much
Yeah,
fun.
it's again great to see you. You're coming to us from Florida.
Yes.
How have you been doing, and specifically, how have the past couple of months been for you?
Yes. Thank you, Blair. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's been really interesting. Never experienced anything like this in my life. It's been really difficult. I've had some really bad days, some down days, some tough days. I've had great days. In the beginning, it was kind of like a roller coaster, a good day, a bad day. But then I would have to say, like the last few weeks, the last month, like I'm feeling really great and just kind of like in my groove now and with the routine, and just I'm actually getting used to this like lifestyle and timing. We don't have to be somewhere at a certain time and have to rush around all day. And I think we're so used to being, well, at least for me, so busy with such a schedule all the time. That it was such a drastic change, like from one day to the next. So it was really like a time of adaptation for me. But like, Blair, it's been really interesting. It's been a great time for me to have a lot of quiet time and introspection. And since my faith is what's most important in my life, I've had a lot of time to be able to, to pray, read the Bible, reflect. And it's been a really rich time spiritually for me as well. And so I've been really grateful for these times. So, and I hope you're okay and that you've been doing okay.
Well, thank you for asking. Yes, I think we've sort of all been riding that roller coaster together, but great to hear that you've been doing well. And for those of you who are watching us live today, just a reminder that now is the perfect time to leave a question for Mary in the comment section. We are going to get to as many of those questions as possible today because, Mary, this is a big week for you. We have a big anniversary, 20 years since you won the Roland-Garros singles and doubles titles. Obviously, we'd love to see you be able to celebrate in Paris, but what are the overwhelming feelings and emotions this week?
Yeah, it's incredible to think that it's been 20 years. Like, honestly, I can't believe it. My gosh, 20 years is that's a long time. It's a lot of years that has gone by, and I can't believe that it's been that many. It doesn't feel like it's been that long ago. The feelings and the memories are still very, fresh and very vivid, and it's just been really special. I think, like, just before going live, we were saying, that you can only celebrate your 20-year anniversary of winning Roland-Garros once in your life. So it's a very special time in my life right now to be able to look back and remember all those amazing memories where my dream in tennis came true. And it's like I said, it's a very special time because normally we'd be in Paris right now at the French Open, but I'm not. I'm home in Florida, and we're celebrating it a different way. And it's very interesting to be doing it, this way. Hopefully, we'll be in Paris later in the year for Roland Garros. We'll see.
We certainly hope so. And Mary, it's also the 20-year anniversary of one of the best shots to ever be hit on the Sarabatsu at Roland-Garros. The tweener lob against Monica Seles in the quarterfinals. We're throwing up a photo of that. But
Yes.
when you hit shots like that, are you sort of thinking, yeah, things are clicking for me right now?
Well, Blair, like that's a shot that I never practice. I just would do it every once in a while in practice sessions for fun because I just, like to do it, and it was just fun. But, that shot in that match was the only time I've ever done that shot in a match ever in my whole career. And Monica Seles is such a tough opponent for me. Love Monica. She's a friend and respect her so much. And, she was just making me run side to side. And I knew that she was going to hit the ball to the next side. So I just went as fast as I could. And then all of a sudden the ball was just like right on top of me. And I didn't even think. It was just automatic reflex. I just jumped, hit the ball, between my legs, jumping in the air. And I mean, it was a miracle that I actually hit the ball, let alone that it went in the court for a winner. But yeah, when I see the images and I look back, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could jump that high.
Well, thank you for that hot shot moment. I've watched it countless times, so it's nice to be able to relive that as well. But
Yeah.
in celebration of those 20 years, Mary, we are going to play a little 20 questions before we get back into the deep dive of your career. So rapid fire. Ready for this?
Okay, let's go.
All right, here we go. What are three words you'd use to describe yourself?
Oh, wow. Love, fun, and truth.
Nice. What do you miss most about playing tennis?
The training.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like that's not what most people would say.
I loved to train hard. I just loved the sweating and the working out. It was my favorite part.
That's great. All right. What do you miss least?
Ooh, the traveling.
Favorite court?
Philippe Chatrier.
Favorite tournament?
Roland-Garros.
Favorite city?
Ooh. I might have to say Melbourne, Australia.
All right. All right. Favorite off day activity, and this could be then or now.
Favorite off day activity? Oh my gosh. Sleeping in, having yummy food, going to the spa.
Love it. All right. Biggest lesson tennis has taught you?
Wow. To always believe in yourself, to fight and never give up.
What's a bit of advice that players at all levels could maybe use?
Repetition. Practice makes perfect.
I'm repetition, the sweating. All right. What's the most memorable gift you've ever received from a fan?
Wow, that's a really good question. There's been so many really special ones. I think probably, when I think back, there's this one little girl. She just like made a drawing, like a little handmade thing that she did. So yeah, that was really, really special.
What was your can't miss pre-match habit? Some routine that you did every time?
Pray.
What do you think you'd do if you didn't play tennis?
I would be a pediatrician.
Nice. Favorite workout?
Well, now or then?
Either. We can do then and now. That's fine.
Okay. Well, I'd still probably the same thing. Probably weights, strength training. It's my favorite.
All right. One thing you always travel to tournaments with besides your tennis gear?
My Bible.
Current player you'd like to play doubles with?
Well, I never played with Serena. So that would be fun. She's got such a big serve. That'd be a lot of fun.
That would. All right. Your most meaningful piece of memorabilia?
Well, I mean, it's definitely my French Open trophy because that's my dream that came true in tennis.
All right. Now, these were questions submitted from fans. This is from Luke Taylor Tennis on Instagram. Who was harder to play, Hingis or Seles? Obviously, two contrasting styles there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hi, Luke. Thanks for your question. Very good question. Both tough opponents, but I would have to probably go with Martina Hingis just because she was so crafty. It's like playing chess when you play Martina Hingis in a tennis match. She's just so smart and so efficient, and it's very difficult to read where she's going to hit the ball on all of her shots, serve, forehand, backhand, and she can change direction so well. It was really hard to read where she was going to play.
All right. This is from Malloy Women's Tennis on Instagram. What's the best comeback you made in a match where you were down in the score?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a great question, Malloy. Thanks for asking that one. Well, I was down 6-love in the third set tiebreaker. And I came back and won that 8-6. So that's my greatest comeback in a match.
That's pretty good. Who was that against?
Elena Lakotseva, and that was in Moscow, actually, in the indoor tournament.
Wow. That qualifies for sure. This one's from Luanda on Twitter. Who was your fiercest opponent?
Luanda, good question. Fiercest is a good question. I had players that were maybe the most difficult for me to play against, but fiercest, I'd probably have to say Monica Seles or Serena and Venus, just because they were such fierce competitors.
Sure. All right. And finally, number 20, who was your tennis inspiration? This is also from Luanda.
Chris Evert is my tennis inspiration. She was the player that I just loved watching on TV, and I just thought that for so many reasons, because she was so poised and just looked so confident and so calm, and she never really showed any negative emotion, and very concentrated, consistent. Her game was so precise, and she just looked beautiful. Like, I always loved her outfits, and so she was the one that I looked up to the most.
All right, Mary, you survived 20 years, 20 questions. That was
I made
great.
it.
All right, just another reminder for the fans watching right now, go ahead and leave your questions in the comment section. We're going to get to, as I said, as many of those as possible today. And Mary, switching gears just a bit, I want to ask how the 2000 Roland-Garros title compared to your first slam, the 1995 Australian Open. Did you feel different as a person and a player?
Definitely. When I won the Australian Open, I was 20 years old, and it was my second Grand Slam final. I had made my first one about, I guess, 6 or 8 months before that at the French Open. So coming into my second Grand Slam final, I was more relaxed and had more confidence than in my first one where I was so nervous. But winning the Australian Open was just like amazing. I was so happy, and it's a Grand Slam title, and love Australia and the Australian Open, so it was just amazing, and it totally changes your life. And then you're, shot it to stardom, and like everywhere you go, people recognize you, and now the players want to beat you. So it was, it's a life-changing experience for sure. But then, winning the French Open is just a whole, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole nother level, because growing up, I was watching the French Open, and that was like the tournament to play, the tournament to win. It was my dream, to one day play Roland-Garros, and then I made it, and one day to win it. And, playing as a French player with the crowd all, behind you, and feeling their support and living those moments, which is like the most powerful and the strongest emotions you could possibly live on a tennis court, is playing your home Grand Slam on center court with a packed crowd and winning the French Open for me. It was the most amazing experience in my tennis career, because that's when my dream came true, and living that with the fans has just made it that more special.
And your faith at that point was sort of in a different place than maybe it was in 1995 as well?
Yes, definitely. I was a different person, like you said. So when I won the Australian, I was 20 years old. When I won the French Open, I was 25. And in March of 2000 is when I became a born-again Christian. So that's when I completely changed as a person. My heart changed, and I was transformed from the inside, and then that obviously showed from the outside. And so everything that I did in my life just then completely made sense, because I understood, okay, God has given me this gift to play tennis, and this is his plan for my life, so I want to do my best for him, and that he gets all the glory in this. So it took all the pressure off that was always so difficult when I would play the French Open before. And as a French player, they always say how difficult it is to play the French Open because of all the media attention and the stress and the pressure and the expectation of the whole country like riding on your shoulders. But that year, I just arrived completely different and completely changed, and so much more relaxed and just completely at peace in my heart, because I knew, that the Lord was in control of everything, and that all I had to do was just give my best, give 100% and have fun. And then whatever happened, happened. So that helped me tremendously just to be at that tournament so much more relaxed.
Sure. We actually got a question about that on Twitter from Maxence Monroe. He asked, are you still in touch with the player who shared her faith with you?
Yes, definitely. Good question. So Linda Wild was the player on the tour at the time who shared the gospel with me. Now, Linda Secord married with 3 kids. And yeah, we're still friends to this day, of course. And yeah, love her to bits. I mean, I definitely changed my life. So.
On that note, she's obviously a friend. We have another question coming in on Facebook. Who were your closest friends on tour? From Cliffy Cliff is asking.
Cliffy Cliff, yeah, good question. So I was close to Jennifer Capriati because we grew up playing junior tennis together in Florida. Me being a year older than Jennifer, but she was always playing the A division higher than me. So I've known Jennifer since I'm probably 11, I guess. Eva Maioli, Anka Huber, Barbara Shett. I think that was the group early on, where we were kind of always together, and we'd go out to dinner or go to amusement parks or just hang out. I was closest to them. And then obviously I got to know all the French girls very well because of Fed Cup. And I'm still friends with a lot of the girls today.
Love that. All right. This is another fan question from Peter on Twitter, TieGuy84. He says, hi, Mary. I loved your interview with Racket Magazine, as did I. That was fantastic. I'd love to ask you how you compare the 2000 Roland-Garros win to reaching the final in 2005. And obviously the outcomes are different here, but
Yes.
2005 was huge for you considering where you had come from not long before.
Yeah, so hi, and thanks for that question. Really good one, because 2005 was one of my best years of my career. And I want to make a note that my brother was my coach in both of those years, in 2000 and 2005. So having him with me was great. I wish he would have been with me every year, but he didn't like traveling. So he kind of sacrificed 2 years of his life to be with me. But that 2005 was very, very special to me because I was 30 years old. And, a lot of people at that time were kind of like, oh, Mary's done. She's already won the French Open, which is what she wanted to achieve in tennis. I had a back injury after that. I was out for almost a year. I went down to 300. I was out of shape. I was overweight, tried to come back, wasn't having great results. And everyone was kind of like, oh, why is Mary still playing? Well, 2004 changed my team, worked hard for 12 months. Like I said, I got my brother back in my team. I changed my fitness coach and everybody. And wasn't really seeing any results, but I was getting fit and in shape. And then all of a sudden, 2005 French Open comes, and boom, like I make the finals. But like every match that French Open felt almost as if I had won the tournament, because it was so much sweeter. Like each victory was so much sweeter. Coming back from an injury, being 30 years old, and everyone thinking that you're done. And just for me, I knew, like in my heart, I just knew that I wasn't done and there were still great things to accomplish. And that's what motivated me. That's why I kept working so hard. And so, like I said, each match was just so much sweeter than every other one. So winning the French Open obviously was the best because I won it and that was my dream come true. But that final in 2005 was one of my best experiences in my career as well. Just each victory, like I said, was that much sweeter.
Love that. All right, another one. This was from Patrick on Facebook. Asked, and I'm paraphrasing here, what was the mentality as you were working your way back from injury? What were you sort of telling yourself in order to make your way back to the highest level?
Excuse me, yeah. I swallowed the wrong way. Let me get some water.
No worries. You came prepared. That's great.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, so that's a good question because coming back from injuries is really tough. Sometimes you don't know if you're going to be able to come back or not, and what you're going to be like when you do come back. So it's difficult mentally and emotionally. There's a lot of questions and a lot of doubts. And I think for me, the great thing that I had was an amazing team around me that always believed in me and always loved me and was always there to help me and motivate me. Like on the days that I was down, I could say, and I think what's important is on those days when you're having difficulty or you're down, to be really able to say that and to voice that, like whatever are your thoughts, whatever are your struggles, if you're having a tough day or if you don't feel like doing something one day, or if you need to cry or whatever it is, to get it out. And the people that are around you and that care about you and love you are going to be there for you and they're going to help you. And like I said, and for me, I had my team, which was amazing to help me to get through those times. And also, like I said, inside of me, I just knew that like I wasn't done and there were still great things to accomplish and what I wanted to accomplish and why. And those are the things that really motivate you on those days when it's difficult to keep going.
Sure. And those are rules for life too. That applies off the court as well, right?
Definitely. We learn so much, Blair, in tennis, life in tennis and training and competing and traveling and everything that we go through on the tennis tour and as a professional tennis player helps us so much in life. I mean, there's so many things that we learn that we can apply to our everyday lives outside of tennis.
All right, another fan question for you from Gareth Johnson. What was your most memorable match? And I guess it could be memorable for a number of different reasons.
I think I might say my French Open win against Steffi Graf in 1994. I beat her in the semifinals. She was number one at the time. Totally unexpected for me to beat her. And I played amazing and beat her in 2 sets. And I think that tournament, I have the record of the least amount of games lost riding to the finals of the French Open in women's history. And it's like everything that I touched just like turned into gold. Like I couldn't miss. Everything was a winner. So I think for me, that was probably my best match of my career.
Was that the 2-2 match? Was that the score?
I don't remember the score exactly, but it was something like that, yes.
So speaking of which, you have some eye-popping score lines against some of the best players to ever play the game. You mentioned Steffi, also Monica, Martina Hingis, Serena. When
Yeah.
you were playing well, I mean, was there a feeling of when you walked out on the court that you should come out with a victory?
Well, definitely every time I walked out on the court, I believed in myself and I wanted to win. And I felt that I was ready and that I was prepared, that I could give 100% of myself, and that I was going to do my utmost and whatever it took and everything that I possibly could to win that match. So you definitely go out there with a lot of belief in yourself.
Sure.
Definitely there are other opponents where it's maybe a little bit more difficult to beat them. You don't have a good, excuse me, a good head-to-head against them, but you still have to go and think, hey, this is a different match. This is another day, and I'm just going to give my best, and hopefully I win.
All right. I know a lot of tennis fans know that you turned pro at a very young age. You made your pro debut at 14.
Yeah.
Fewer people know that you did not pick up a racket until age 10. And I have to admit, I chuckled. I was listening to your podcast, your racket podcast, and
Yeah.
Renee Stubbs, a former player, was amazed at this fact because we know, I mean, that's ancient in tennis years. Most kids are picking up a racket when they're 4 years old. So, in a nutshell, can you quickly tell us that story for those who haven't heard it of how you first picked up a racket?
Yeah, it's an incredible story because, like I said, I wanted to be a pediatrician by the age of 7. I was like, that's what I want to do. And so one day I was just following a friend of mine from school, and she was a very good tennis player. And we used to do our homework together after school or on the weekend. So this one day, I follow her, and well, she had a tennis lesson, so I went with her to the club, and I was in the clubhouse waiting, and I was just watching, and all the kids were on one court, and they were hitting the ball and running around, and it was like King of the Court or something like that. I don't know, around the world, whatever. And I was like, oh, that looks like fun. You know, not that I wanted to play tennis, but I just wanted to play that game that everyone was playing. So someone saw me and like, oh, would you like to play? I said, sure. So I said, well, take your racket, go to the court. So I was like, okay, I don't have a racket. I said, we'll go to the pro shop. So I went to the pro shop, asked for a racket. And she said, well, what racket do you usually use? I'm like, I don't know. I've never played. She's, oh, okay. So she gives me a racket, tells me to go to a tennis court, but points me to where like there's a coach with 2 little kids half my age on the court. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to do that. But okay, I was told to go there, so I go there. The coach shows me how to hold the racket, hand tosses me the ball, and I hit it. It goes over the net and in the court. And he looks at me and he goes, well, who told you to come here? I said, well, the lady in the pro shop. I was like, no, wrong court. So he pointed me to another court. So I went to the next court, and then after 5 minutes, the coach goes, well, who told you to come here? I said, well, the coach over there. He's like, no, wrong court. So I moved to a third court, stayed there, and by the end of that practice, I was doing serves and playing points, and I was like making sure I was the last person so I could try to do what everybody else was doing and copy them. And we finished. I got off the court. I never made it to that court where all the kids were running around playing the game. But this very tall man comes up to me and says, hi, my name is Kevin. I'm the head pro here, and I've never seen you before. What's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? And how long have you been playing? And I said, I'm Mary. I'm Rachel's friend. I'm 10. I'm from here. And I've been playing about, I don't know, 45 minutes. And he's like, no, how many years? And I said, no, it's my first day. And he's like, okay, come back tomorrow with your parents. I said, okay. So I run off to my friend Rachel, like, oh no, I'm in trouble. I shouldn't have played. I have to come back tomorrow with my parents. So we came back the next day, and I just can so clearly remember, I still see, I'm standing there, I'm looking at my parents, talking to Kevin, the head pro, and waiting. And then they come back and say, okay, Mary, well, you know what? Now you're going to play tennis just like Rachel after school 3 times a week for an hour. And I was like, okay.
Amazing.
That's how it started. So obviously you saw that I could play tennis the first day, like kids had been playing for years.
Just a little bit of talent there, it sounds like, Mary. A tad.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely. That's why I say, Blair, that it was definitely God that gave me that gift to play. So I was for sure.
And I hear you also initially didn't like to sweat. So at what point did that shift to loving to train and getting out there, getting a good workout?
It's so funny because like I was totally like not into sports, and living and growing up in Florida, it's very hot, it's very humid. So as soon as you go outside and move around, you start sweating. And that was like not my thing. I was like school, books, studying. And well, very soon, very quickly that had to change because you sweat a lot in Florida. So that changed pretty quick.
That's fantastic. All right. You worked with your dad up until the time you were 18. So that experience, the relational aspect, plus you were considered a prodigy at that point. There was a lot of attention. How did you still perform at a high level? What is it about your makeup that allowed you to still get the job done? Because that would have been probably too much for most teenagers to handle.
You mean like having my dad as my coach, or going through the difficulties in the relationship that I went through, or?
Yeah, to do that and to do that in the public eye.
Hmm. Well, first of all, you don't really have a choice.
Fair point.
Secondly, it was my dad that basically was there from every lesson from the beginning when I started, and he watched all my lessons. And and I look back and I think to what he did, I think that's just like absolutely amazing, with no experience. And then going to all my lessons, listening to what the coaches have to say, reading all the tennis books all about the best coaches and players, learning technique, drills, exercises, reading all the tennis magazines, watching all the tennis matches on TV, recording them, watching them, studying them. It's just amazing what he did. And obviously I know for sure that he did the best that he possibly could and what he thought was best. And, it wasn't always, I think, done in the healthiest way, like that's for sure. But I wouldn't have been who I was as a person, as a player, if I also didn't go through all of that. And I also say that if I wasn't strong, had some kind of inner strength, mentally, emotionally, physically, then I would not have been able to go through everything that I went through, and all the training and the abuse and how everything was. Like, I would have just crumbled. I honestly, sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I did it, but it wasn't easy. Obviously it's not easy going through those kind of things. And, like you said, and being in the public eye and having everybody know like what's going on in your life. And sometimes it's a bit like embarrassing, and you don't want people to know like everything that's going on in your life. I mean, they don't know everything and all the details because they don't see and know what goes on behind closed doors, but they know a lot, So it was hard. It was really, really hard, especially being so young, growing up and being in the public eye in your whole life, being watched and being seen by everybody all the time. So that wasn't easy. But as you get older and you get used to it, then, it's just part of life.
And you seem to, again, use that for as good as it possibly could have been used for the rest of your time playing tennis and even today.
Well, yeah, I always say, and, something that my mom always said to me growing up, she said, everything always happens for a reason and always happens for the best. So, like I said, the way my father, coached me and what happened in our relationship because of the tennis, and like the story that I always tell of what happened is, when I was 18 is when I decided to leave my family. And I'm like, now I'm an adult, I'm out of here, I'm going to do whatever I want now. And, my parents divorced. And so it really destroyed our family and it broke our family completely. And I had, after that, no relationship with my dad. And I feared him. I had a bodyguard. I hated him. I never wanted to see him again in my life. And when I won the Australian Open at 20, I thought, well, my dad did coach me for 8 years. He does have a part in this, so maybe I should show him the trophy. So I did, and I saw him for 5 minutes. He was remarried at the time, and so I met him and his wife at the time, and 5 minutes, showed him the trophy, said thank you. He looked at it, was happy, and that was it. And for me, I was like never going to see him again. But, when I became a born-again Christian at 25, like I said, and that's when I totally changed and my life changed. And then I was able to forgive my dad, love my dad, have a new heart. Like my heart was just healed, like nothing had ever happened to me before. It was like someone else in another life. And to be able to love him is a miracle. To forgive him is a miracle. To love him is another miracle. And then that our relationship was restored was an amazing, and beautiful thing. To then have a father-daughter relationship before he passed away in April 2017 with bladder cancer. And I was able to be with him through that whole process and take care of him, which was a very special and very rich time. And he was very grateful for my heart for him and for my love and for my care. And how, those times that we had together before he passed away were really, really special.
Yeah, what a story. And so after that time with your dad, you shifted to working with Nick Bollettieri, and he actually gave your Hall of Fame induction tribute speech. We are going to watch just a little snippet of that, and then I have some questions for you.
Okay.
The first time I saw Mary at the IMG Academy with her father when she was 13 years old, I had to put on my Maui Jim sunglasses. You know why? Are you kidding me? Wow. She stood right on top of the baseline, baby, and whacked every single ball with all her might.
That was such a quintessential Nick snippet, Mary. It was so fun to hear him talk about you and your relationship. But he was not conventional. He wasn't conventional then. He's still not conventional today. What was it about his style that worked for you and so many others?
You know, I love Nick so much. He came into my life at a really important time, like I said, at 18 when I asked him to coach me. And I had just so much respect for Nick, and he's been working with so many amazing champions, male and female, and just seemed to be able to create champions and get the best out of them. So I was very happy and very grateful to be able to work with Nick, and learned a lot from him. And, you know, Nick's greatest gift is, first of all, you feel he's passionate and he cares. Like, he really loves you, you know, and he loves what he does. And you want to do your best for someone, you know, when you know that they care that much about you and your tennis and you as a person. So he was kind of like a second dad for me in that time in my life, and pretty much for the rest of my career and the rest of my life. And even, you know, today, Nick is still a friend and someone that I respect tremendously. And, you know, unconventional ways are great ways as well, because, you know, not everything has to be in a box and conventional, and, you know, you got to do things different if you want to do things great as well. And, you know, I think Nick was able to get the best out of each player, male or female, and that's a gift to really be able to do that.
And on that note, a fan question that came in from David McGovern: which player brought the best out of your game when you played them?
Oh, which player? Okay, well, I'll probably say Arantxa Sanchez Vicario.
Okay.
I really liked playing against Arantxa because I feel like her style of game really went well with mine, because I liked to have a lot of time to prepare my shots. I didn't like when the ball was coming very fast to me. So Arantxa had the, you know, hit the ball with more topspin. It was a bit more loopy. And so that gave me time to set up for my shots and hit my hard, powerful shots. So I enjoyed playing against her a lot.
Good stuff. All right, this one is from Andrew Whalen on Facebook. Hi, Mary. You were as well known for your sense of style as you were for your power game. What were some of your favorite on-court looks, and how much input did you have?
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for that question. Well, I had a lot of fun, you know, when I was with Nike and working with the designers, and such a great opportunity to be able to do that as a player, because I really loved all my outfits. And I got a lot of inspiration, like looking back at Ted Tingling's stuff that he did, and obviously Chris Everett's outfits and Tracy Austin's outfits. And, you know, I was really happy to be able to bring back the dress, the tennis dress. And I remember when Nike asked me if you wanted to do that, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like so much fun. And it was like a really big deal when it first happened, you know. And obviously I really liked, obviously the one that I wore during the French Open when I won in 2000, the black and the white dress. Everyone calls it like the cocktail dress. And it was very comfortable. So for me, what was really important is obviously it had to look good, but most important was I had to be comfortable. So if I wasn't comfortable, then I wasn't going to be able to move around and serve and jump and hit and run and be able to play my best tennis. So I always had to test my outfits to make sure they were functional and that they were comfortable.
Very nice. All right, Mary, we have not only your 20-year Roland-Garros anniversary, we also have your 1-year anniversary of your induction into the International Tennis Hall of Fame coming up. I can't believe that was almost a year ago.
I know.
When you look back to that weekend and everything you did over the course of those few days, what sticks out to you?
The speech. Like how nervous I was for that.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think I probably thought about it every day for those 6 months. Once I was like, you're nominated, but then when they say, okay, you're going to be inducted, you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to do a speech. So I think for me, yeah, the moment walking out and just being recognized And I think just actually, yeah, just being recognized that your whole career is being recognized as one of the greatest tennis players in the history of the game. And that's really super humbling and really mind-blowing and such an honor and such a privilege.
Fantastic. And Mary, can you just give us an update on what you're up to today? Obviously, I know a lot of work with the ITF, if you want to talk about that, and sort of what an average day looks like for you today.
Yes, so I'm on the board of directors of the ITF. This is my second term, I guess you could say. The first term is, each term is 4 years. So in my second term, first year of my second term. And so I'm enjoying that and being on the other side. It's very interesting to be on this side of the game. And when you're playing, you've got no clue like about anything else that's going on except for yourself. Eat, sleep, train, compete, and which is, you know, normal because you have to be at your best. But now it's really interesting to be on the other side of the game and, you know, be representing the female players and being their voice and all the issues. You know, I'm on the Olympic committee, so anything that has to do with the Olympics. So, you know, speaking with the players, the coaches, the captains of federations, and just how we can make that the best event for them. Fed Cup committee as well, you know, get all the top players to play Fed Cup. Athletes Commission, now the ITF has created something new called Ihf Player Panel, which is to give the players, the ITF Women's Pro Tour, ranked about from 301 all the way down to 1,000 or whatever, a voice so that they can now be heard and what their needs are, you know, if they have complaints or want things changed or need things, that then now we have meetings throughout the year where I'll be chairing that panel and bringing those issues to the committee and then to the board. So yeah, and I'm on the IOC Education Commission, so which I'm really passionate about as well, because, you know, also helping the younger generation understand the Olympic values, which for me is so important. I loved, you know, playing the Olympics and representing my country, which I feel has been a little bit lost in this new young generation. So those are just some of the things that I do. You know, I had organized a circuit of ITF tournaments for women in the Indian Ocean. There was some $10,000 tournaments at the time. But I didn't do them last year or this year for various reasons. So that's something that I really enjoyed doing, giving girls and women an opportunity to start their career in that area of the world, because Africa and that area is it's very expensive to travel and they don't have a lot of finances. And that's how I started my career. I played the qualifying for the $10,000 tournament. So to help them and inspire young girls to get into tennis, to learn about tennis, to play tennis, and help them start their professional careers. And then I was doing some coaching and some mentoring, some commentating. There are a lot of different things that I've been up to. And so now, you know, with this whole coronavirus season, what's been happening, it's really, you know, brought me back home here to Florida and just reassessing and reevaluating everything, and, you know, and what I've been doing and what I want to be doing going forward. And I really feel that, you know, I want to do something that will have an impact globally and will be something that will touch people's hearts and change their lives for the better. And so I've got a few different ideas and desires in my heart and projects that I'm speaking to my team about. And yeah, we'll see in the future down the road what I'll be doing and announcing soon, hopefully.
Well, is that it, Mary?
And I love you know, mentoring. You know, I realized that I really enjoyed coaching and being on the court with players and giving back. You know, because I love tennis and I love being on the court. So it's something as well that I'm passionate about.
Fantastic. Well, Mary, I think anyone who knows you or has interacted with you would say that you're well on your way to impacting people in a really positive way. So thank you so much personally for me, and I know for all the viewers who had the chance to listen to you today. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Blair. Really, it's been such a pleasure. It's been so fun to be with you and to be with everyone. And thanks for sending in your questions. I had such a great time. And yeah, just thinking of everyone, sending lots of love and praying that everyone continues to stay safe and healthy. And hopefully we can get back out there and the tournaments and start competing again soon. So
hope to see you in person soon, Mary. Thank you again. And you can join us next week for Marat Safin on the next Hall of Fame Live. We'll see you then.